everyone ready to do some cooking?
Yes.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully you have your ingredients and all of your equipment ready to go. First time ever we're doing something like this. First time ever Michelle and Adam are doing something like this. So we hope everybody has a great time and just enjoys it. I have everybody on mute. I'm going to keep you on mute for the duration of the cooking class, and I'm only going to turn it over to Michelle and Adam. But if at any time during the cooking class you guys have a question for Adam, or you're not sure what he just said or not sure what you're doing, please just either raise your hand. You can actually virtually raise your hand or wave your hands and we'll unmute you so you can make or ask your question. And without further ado, I'm so excited to turn it over to Michelle, the amazing owner of 12th Street Catering. So Michelle, let me just unmute you. So we can, there we go. Michelle, can we hear? There we go. It's all yours, Michelle.
All right, well, I would like to raise a toast to everybody. I am so excited to see everyone. I feel like it's the first time I'm really connecting in a really positive way over Zoom. So great to see you. Jolene and Celeste and Cheryl had reached out and brainstormed about an idea and a way to have some fun. And we hope that this is a fun experience for everybody. At least you get to eat something yummy. We're going to start. I'm sure you got your I'm hoping you got your packages and they were all and you're all set to prep. Does everybody have their mise en place in front of them so that they can begin their prep? Paul, I think you're going to lead the way here tonight, I think.
With what?
Turn it over to Adam Galasso, our executive chef. Can you hear me? Is it still good? And he's going to begin. No, I can hear you. Adam's going to take over and start to talk to us about how to make this delicious dinner. And it's great to see you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for supporting 12th Street Catering through this time. We've been working our ends off for the last couple of weeks, making food for the hospitals and the frontline workers and all of the homeless. I think we're up to like 8,000 people a week right now. But this is a great break for us to figure out a little bit of a Zoom cooking class. I actually did a couple of Zoom cooking classes with my daughter. She started her own cooking class at home. So I learned a couple of things with her, doing a little scone work. But we have all of our ingredients. We started out with, you guys should have everything in front of you. I'm gonna go over the ingredients a little bit so you know what each one of them are. I'm sure you know what they are. I gave you a little bit more than you need from the ingredients because you can have a little extra, you can use it later. You don't always have to cook by recipe. You can always cook by your heart, your eyes, a little bit by taste and by sight. So we're gonna learn a little bit about that tonight. To start off with, I gave a little bit of garlic, 2 cloves of garlic, some pine nuts that are already toasted, some baby spinach, some grated Parmesan cheese, a little bit of fresh basil. We gave you some salt. I'll explain the reason why we gave you salt. We gave you a little bit of butter, some shrimp, peeled and deveined and cleaned shrimp. They're 1620 shrimp. Some seasoning for the shrimp. We made up a little bit of seasoning, some olive oil, and some blended oil. And then we also gave the vegetarians, and if you want to add it to your dish, some roasted vegetables if you don't want to use the shrimp, okay? So we're going to start off with the garlic. I gave you guys 2 cloves of garlic, but for 2 people, you probably only need 1 clove of garlic, depending on how much garlic you want. You need to start off with, we're going to make the pesto by your knife and cutting board. There's a couple different ways to make pesto. You can make it by a hand blender, a Robocool or a Cuisinart, or a Vitamix or a blender itself. But I wasn't sure if everybody had that. So we're gonna start off by hand, and there's another way by a mortar and pesto, which not everybody has either. So we're just gonna try the simplest way possible, and the way that I learned first was just with a chef's knife, a cutting board, and that's it. And you have your clove of garlic, and you can see that there's a root end. I don't know if everybody can see, there's a root end of the garlic. You don't want to use that root end. And I actually cut the garlic in half first. Everybody see the garlic? I don't know if you can see. Can you tilt it down a little bit? You can see my cutting board. We're gonna move the camera down a little bit. There we go. Move this stuff out of the way. Okay, so first thing we're gonna start to do is to start to mince the garlic a little bit. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your knife, and I have a 10-inch chef knife. You can have any kind of knife you want, and just smash the garlic down nice and hard so it starts to mince it. And if you guys, if I'm moving too fast and you can't follow along, let me know, I'll slow down. As soon as I mince the garlic, as soon as I smash the garlic down, I'm gonna put a little bit of salt. That's gonna help me make the garlic into a paste. So you're gonna start to mash it down. And it's easier to have a little bit bigger, wider knife so that you can get this paste of garlic going. I can show you guys the paste. And we're gonna keep on mashing it down so we got a little bit of a paste of garlic. We're gonna rock the knife a little bit, back and forth, because nobody wants big chunks of garlic in their pesto. We're gonna make a little bit like of a paste. Everybody see the paste? Everybody should have your water boiling now, and in your water, you're gonna make sure you put salt in your water so it tastes like the ocean. Probably not the Jersey Shore ocean, maybe the Delaware Beach ocean, but you're gonna make it taste like the ocean. So now,
Adam, I'm sorry, can you, how do you get it to be paste? You just keep pushing the knife down?
You keep on pushing it down. You keep on pushing it down, just like with the side of your knife, and it comes into a paste.
Okay.
See it?
Do we need to do another clove of garlic? Does everybody get what we did? What we did, what Adam did?
You got that? So next, I'm gonna add the pine nuts to this. I'm just adding a little bit of pine nuts to my cutting board. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna crush the pine nuts with my knife. So I'm crushing them down so they come into a paste. This way, the pine nuts aren't whole inside your pesto, and you're making a little bit of a garlic and pine nut paste. I'm gonna rock the knife back and forth and chop it up a little bit.
Adam, if we have some beginners on the class who are asking if you could go a little bit slower, because some novices.
Are we using all the pine nuts?
No, I used about like half, maybe two handfuls of pine nuts. I could show you the pine nuts right here. So I mashed garlic and the pine nuts together.
Do we need more garlic if ours is, or salt if it's not looking mashy?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do we put more salt in? Because ours doesn't look as pasty as yours.
Yeah, you can put a little bit of salt. You want to mash it down with your knife. So I'm pushing down with my knife and I'm pulling it at the same time.
Kelly, what's happening to yours?
Are we using both cloves of garlic?
No, just one clove of garlic.
Okay, I thought. Okay.
If you like a lot of garlic, you can use both cloves.
It's okay. That's what I was wondering.
I have a quick question for you. I missed
Sure.
the beginning. How much water are we boiling?
How much what?
Water are we boiling?
Probably about 6 quarts of water, like a medium pot of water.
Got it. Thank you.
It looks like about that. I don't know if you can see that size.
Adam, you make it look so easy.
I know.
Would you like us to do another one so you can watch it? We have another clove of garlic here.
That might be helpful for some people.
Let's do it again.
Okay. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to start it over again. I'm going to put this in the bowl. I need my base.
Grab it again.
Okay, guys, so you have your clove of garlic. There's the root end is on the one side, which is like the brown end. You want to cut that piece off and remove it. And then just cut the garlic in half so it's split, just like this. And then you want to hit the garlic down with your knife, like this. Make a really loud noise. Don't Don't be afraid to like just smack it. All your frustration come out. And then add,
Ours seems really dry.
Like crumbly. Is that normal?
Crumbly, yes.
yes.
Okay. Thanks.
And I'm chopping the garlic up. Now it's going into a paste.
It should look like flaky peanut butter.
And then I'm gonna add my pine nuts to this. I added like 2 handfuls of pine nuts. You can add a lot of pine nuts, a little bit of pine nuts. I'm gonna mash the pine nuts down again, just like this. You can see it's starting to mash. And it's coming into almost like a really dry paste with the garlic. And that's gonna be our base for our pesto. And you can see the paste. It's almost dry garlic and pine nuts. No. I'm gonna put that mixture right into a metal bowl. You can see the metal bowl has a little bit of the dried pine nuts. And now we're gonna start chopping our basil. We're gonna clean our cutting board off a little bit. Clean our knife off because it's all sticky right now. All right, so everybody got a couple bunches of basil. So the way you're gonna do it is you're gonna take the basil and the leaves and you're just gonna pick them off. Just pick the leaves of basil off and stack them up on your cutting board. Let me know if I'm moving too fast. Usually I come home from work and my wife's like, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? I'm like, I don't know. I'll put it together.
Cut up all the basil.
All the basil. Should be about a bunch of basil. And I try to turn around dinner in about 20 minutes, half hour. But I leave a huge mess that she has to clean up.
I think she'd rather have the mess than have to cook from scratch.
So I have my basil stacked up. One of the things you're gonna need is a sharp knife to do this with. And a lot of times knife kits come with this thing called a steel, a honing steel. It's not really to sharpen it, but it's actually to get the knife edge back onto the knife. Because the knife edge on most knives are like this. Japanese knives are offset, but most of the Wusthof and Hinkle knives are straight. What you want to do is sharpen your knife. You want to take your steel like this, your elbow out, and then you want to take it on the 45-degree angle. It's the same angle as the matchbook. You want to go back and forth and not cut your fingers off. I see some people doing it. Nice. All right. And you only need it a couple times. So the hardest part is probably chopping the basil. And this is a little bit of a knife skill that you have to learn. You want to use your...
Adam, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm here. Go ahead, Jolene.
She might be frozen. All right, Liz is raising her hand.
Hi.
Let me see if I can find Liz. There's so many people. Liz.
Sorry. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We just got a few requests to slow down just a little bit.
Okay, got it.
Jolene, your mom raised her hand too.
Okay.
This was from a while ago. Why do we put salt in the water when we're cooking pasta?
All right, you put salt in the water so that you can season everything. You season the entire way. You season from the beginning to end of everything. So salt in the water will season your pasta and make your pasta taste great. It'll also take the temperature of the water up a little bit more, and you'll get a more flavorful pasta. Put a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil in my pasta water. The reason why you put a little bit of oil in your pasta water too is you ever get the pasta water and you're boiling it and all of a sudden it flows over to your stove and then you got to clean it up. You put the oil on it so it creates an oil slick on the top of the water so that foam and that starch doesn't blow over.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Isn't
There
there
you go. Thank you.
You could put your finger in the salt in your pot, and if it tastes salty, then you know you've seasoned it to the
Right, it should taste like the.
Okay.
Okay.
Which oil do we put in?
What's that? I'm sorry?
Is this the blended oil?
You can use blended oil or extra virgin olive oil, it doesn't matter. All right, so I'm up to the basil. I've got the basil stacked up really nice. This is where kind of knife skills come involved a little bit. So you're gonna take the basil stacked up and you're gonna push your knife on the side and you're gonna take your hand and you're gonna roll the basil. Some people stack it to roll it. I just roll it just like this. And then I rock the knife so that it becomes a really nice chiffonade. One of the problems with basil is that if you cut it too many times, it'll start to turn black and you'll bruise it. Now this is, I guess, a couple years of, cooking skills getting this done. And not cutting myself. But if you can see, I'm holding my fingers like this, curled, and my thumb behind. I don't hold my fingers out like this. I'll cut all my fingers.
Isn't there a trick that your knuckles should be?
Yeah, my knuckles should be right against, these knuckles right here are right against the knife blade. Now, again, there's an easier way to do this. You can do it in a blender or a hand mixer. And you just start with the garlic, a little bit of the pine nuts, and some oil, and you blend it up, and you add your basil later. So the basil is now, you can see the basil is chopped. I just go over the basil again. You can just rock the basil back and forth, but you want to go over the basil again and chop it so it's fine. This takes probably a little while to get perfect.
Smells so good. Is everybody doing okay?
Mhm.
Yep, everyone's doing great.
All right, and then after
It's going great.
a little bit. Now I gave you guys a little bit of spinach, so the basil should look like it's all chopped up fine. I gave you guys a little bit of spinach too, about a little bit of baby spinach. You can put like a handful in, you can put in more if you want. It depends on how much spinach you like. The reason why I like spinach in my pesto is that it holds the color a little bit greener longer. So if you're gonna hold it for overnight, use it the next day, it'll be a little bit greener. If you use all basil, you have a tendency of it turning black the next day. So
Adam, before you do that, could you show us the consistency of the basil?
Yep. So the basil is, can you guys see that? Is it in my hand?
It's just really finely diced.
Okay.
Everybody see it?
Yep.
I'll wait until everybody gets it. I have another glass of wine. I might go through a couple glasses. You're gonna have to drive me home.
I think that's
Should I be concerned that Patty just ordered a pizza?
So I'm gonna take this spinach. Also, I'm gonna do the same thing with the spinach and just chop it the same way. I'm gonna roll it up and chop it really fine.
And you're not worried about any of the stems. All of it
No.
goes in.
All of it goes in, it keeps on chopping. And for you guys that wanna just chop away, you can just use your knife like a little seesaw or rocking. And just keep on chopping it away. The more that you chop your basil, the blacker the basil will get. You want to keep it as green as possible. So now I mix the basil and the spinach, and there's the spinach chopped up, nice and fine. How's everybody doing so far?
Awesome.
Anybody got green fingers like me? Larry, I don't see you cooking anything.
Did I be through a half a bottle of wine already?
So this is what it looks like when it's all chopped up.
Wow.
Wow.
Isn't that not what
Mine does not look like that.
All chopped. Or you can take a hand mixer and blend it up.
Oh, fantastic. What do I do with it now?
He's gonna quickly tell you and then.
Everybody doing okay so far?
Doing great.
So right now we have our pine nuts and our garlic mixture in our bowl. We have our basil chopped and our spinach chopped. And I'm just going to mix those two together in the bowl.
Do you have two different bowls of garlic and pine nuts? Did you separate it in half or is it all in one?
No, I did it twice because some people were trying to ask for it to see it again.
So it's all together, okay.
Of garlic and pine nuts. So it's just one bowl.
Is there a problem if some of the medicinal marijuana fell in the basil and spinach?
No, we want some, that's all.
Chop that really fine so you don't choke on it.
Actually, a joke with Frank.
Okay, so I got my garlic, my pine nuts, my basil, and my spinach all chopped in here. Then I'm gonna add some olive oil. I'm gonna add like maybe a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, just so that it looks a little bit wet.
2 tablespoons of
It's
olive
olive
oil.
oil, blended oil.
The extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
The EVO. So you're gonna mix it up so that it looks like a paste.
Did you say 2 tablespoons?
About 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. It all depends on how much. It's supposed to look like almost like wet sand.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, for you guys that are at the beach.
Are we supposed to have our pasta in?
Not yet. We're gonna do the pesto first. I figured that would take a little time. All right, so I got the olive oil. That's all mixed together. Now you're gonna add your cheese, your Parmesan cheese, maybe about 2 tablespoons of cheese, depending on how much you like, and just mix it together. And the end result should look like something like this, which is a little bit of a paste, bright green. You're gonna add just a little bit of salt to it and a little bit of pepper. And like I said, the reason why you add salt to anything along the way is you want to season in different levels and different flavors. So how's everybody doing with that so far? Good.
Seems like everyone's good. No one, haven't gotten any hands raised. So I think we're
Okay.
good.
So next thing, we're gonna dump, we have our boiling salted water for our pasta, we're gonna dump in our fusilli. So we're gonna put that right into the pot. And when you put it into the pot, you wanna stir it up a little bit.
Are we putting both pastas in?
What's that?
Both pastas?
Yes. As soon as the pasta hits the water, it's going to sink to the bottom. All the starch is going to start to come out of the pasta and it'll start to stick together. So you got to mix it up a little bit when it comes back up to a boil and let that boil off to the side. That should take about 10 minutes or so. Then we're going to start our shrimp. So everybody got about 20 shrimp. I put them right into a bowl. There's a couple different ways you can season your shrimp. These are fresh Gulf shrimp that are peeled in the vein, and they're all clean for you. So there's nothing else on there that you have to do with them. But the way I like to season shrimp, so some people like to lay it out flat and then season the shrimp up high. I don't know if everybody's ever seen Salt Bae, but he does these seasoning things. But the easiest way to salt and season any meat is to use a little bit of the blended oil, just like a teaspoon or so of oil. And then you're going to use the shrimp seasoning that I gave you and sprinkle it on. You can use as little or as much as you want. You don't have to use it all. Just sprinkle it on like you're using salt and pepper. And then you're going to mix it up with your hands so that it's all coated. A little bit more oil. Make sure there's not too much water in your shrimp, if there is.
If we had to, there's not a shrimp season in ours. If we had to substitute, what is that?
You can use a little bit of salt, pepper, maybe some Old Bay, maybe some garlic salt. So you want to mix it up and have it sitting in its liquid so it's seasoned. And you got to wash your hands.
Can we repeat that?
Can you show us what yours looks like? Can you show us how, like,
Your shrimp.
how yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to drip it. I put a little bit of oil in here. Hold on.
Is it just the oil, the shrimp, and the shrimp seasoning?
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
What kind of oil?
The blended oil. You guys see it?
Can you all see it?
How much seasoning should we put on the shrimp?
You can put as little or as much as you want. I put about a tablespoon on the shrimp.
Is it spicy?
No, not spicy.
Okay.
I think a way to describe it is when Adam put it in the bowl and had it in there, he coated the top. So before you toss it through, the top is coated.
Okay. So if you guys have a saute pan, you're going to try and start up your saute pan on high heat. And we're going to saute our shrimp. Don't forget to mix up your pasta because it's probably sticking together. And if you guys are cooking your pasta right now, we're going to save that pasta water to make a little bit of a sauce for the shrimp in the pan. So when we're going to go strain out the pasta, you're going to strain it into the sink. Take a couple ladles of the water out. I'll show you that when we go to strain the pasta out.
We need to put anything in the saute pan, or since the shrimp's got oil on it, we're good?
Now, we're going to put a little bit of oil in there, just going to make sure it gets hot first. You're going to get it pretty hot. You want to cook shrimp on pretty high heat, and then lower your heat down a little bit once you got it in the pan.
Which oil are we putting in to cook the shrimp?
You're going to put in the blended oil. And the blended oil you're gonna put in the pan, depending on how big your pan is, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan.
If we're gonna use the roasted vegetables, do we throw that in with the shrimp or wait till it's cooked?
Wait until, I'll show you when the roasted vegetables are gonna go in a second. Or when to do it.
I saw you take a drink of wine between the shrimp and the pasta. Do we need to do that too?
At least drink a bottle of wine between the shrimp and the pasta.
Okay, good. And how much was it? 2 inches? 3 cups? How was that? I want to make sure I get that right.
So I'm gonna put a little bit of the oil in here. You wanna tilt the camera so they can see it. So when I put the oil, a little higher. I put the oil in the pan. You're gonna have enough oil just to cover the bottom of the pan. One of the tricks, a little closer. So one of the tricks to the pan, when you pick it back and forth, you're gonna see some ripples across the pan, and that's when you know it's hot. When the pan starts to smoke, it's too hot. But when you see the ripples across the pan, when you're moving the oil, that's when you know it's perfectly, the temperature is perfect. And when you put your shrimp in the pan, you should hear the shrimp sizzling.
Please put them in.
Stop it, stop it.
Who's on the third bottle?
You can dump all the shrimp in if you want. You can do it one at a time. Just don't get burnt.
Why are you doing it one at a time?
I'm doing it one at a time so the oil doesn't splash back on my hands. And I don't get burnt. So when the shrimp is going, you want to continue to stir your pasta so it doesn't stick together. You can see if you're cooking your pasta correctly, the water should look a little bit cloudy. That's all the starch coming out of the pasta, and we're going to use that as a sauce to thicken with the shrimp.
Talk about your tongue.
So, you guys, I have these little tweezer tongs. You can also have in your kit. You could also have bigger tongs. These little tweezer tongs just give me a little bit more motion to saute things and move things around a little bit. You can have all kinds of different things. You just don't want to stick your fingers in there, obviously because it's hot. But you're going to saute, don't move the pan too much. You're going to saute all the shrimp on the one side on high heat. And it'll start to turn a little bit of white or pinkish. And that's really good.
What's everybody doing?
And I'm just looking for, you see a little bit of color on the shrimp? Then you're going to flip it back over. You can flip it over by shaking the pan, or you can just flip it over individually. You can see a little bit of the color in the shrimp. That's what you want to get. Everybody see a little bit of color? At this point, I flip my shrimp over. Now for the vegetarians, what we're gonna do is we do no shrimp and we add the vegetables to the pan. The people that eat shrimp and vegetables, and you're just gonna heat up the vegetables in the pan. But the people that eat both, you can dump the vegetables in now with the shrimp. And you're just sauteing it up. While that's cooking, I'm gonna check my pasta. I'm gonna take a little
Are we
piece.
putting the vegetables with the shrimp?
What's that?
Are we putting all the vegetables with the shrimp?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can cook them all. You can cook a little bit. So
Are we still on high?
yes, on high.
Okay.
Right now the pasta has a little bit of bite to it. Everybody should have their pasta almost cooked or close to being cooked. So I'm going to turn my pan off from high on the heat, and I'm going to take out the pasta right from the water. I have a little bit of a skimmer or a strainer or a Chinese pot strainer. I'm going to put the pasta right into my pan. The other way you can do it is strain the water into your sink in a colander, but you want to save the pasta water. I took all my pasta out of here. You want to?
Adam, I'm going to stop you for 1 second.
Sure.
I'm just gonna unmute everyone. Can everyone tell us if they are up to where Adam is? Is everybody able to keep up? I just want to make sure we're on a good pace here for everyone.
Are we supposed to have the shrimp pan off?
Yeah, turn the pan off while you put the pasta in.
Okay. Should our pasta be done before we put it in, or should it still be a little hard?
Yeah, and the pasta should have a little bit of a bite to it.
I'm fine with it. You're not. I'm not much all the way in.
I got the pasta in the pot now. I'm going to turn it back on really quickly. I'm going to turn the flame back on if everybody can see the flame. Turn the flame back on. The most important part now is to toss the pasta in with your vegetables and your shrimp, and everything is working together right now. That's the important part. You can use a spoon. You can mix it up like this instead of tossing it. But I recommend you try and toss it and try and keep it in the pan or all. Doesn't matter. You're going to hear it come back to life. After you turn it off, you're going to turn it on. It's going to start to sizzle a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this pasta water, so about a 2 ounce to 3 ounce ladle of pasta water, and I'm going to dump it right in. And I'm going to do 2 ladles, so about 4 ounces of water. And the key is that the water is going to start to boil, and the butter is going to come into place now. I'm going to put a little bit of the butter in here. About 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to mix that up so it makes a nice little sauce. Everybody see that?
Yeah, Adam, could you repeat that?
So I'm going to take two ladles, which are about 4 ounces of pasta water, put it into the pan.
2 ounces each time.
2 ounces each time. Bring that up to a boil. Add the butter, turn it off again, and toss it with the cold butter till it makes a nice coated sauce. You guys see how the noodles are coated with the sauce? It's nice and hot. Now, while it's off, take it off the heat. This is the important part. Take it off the heat and add your pesto to it. If you add the pesto while it's still on the heat or while it's hot, it'll turn it brown. Now you want to toss it with the pesto. And you can see how it's coating it and making a nice sauce with the shrimp.
My face is right now.
Sorry, is your face too close? I think I almost hit Michelle in the face with the pan. You can see how all the pasta is coated with the pesto and the garlic, and it's all one sauce. You shouldn't have too much sauce in the pan. It should be on the noodles. And the reason why I have these noodles spiraled is to catch all that sauce.
Adam, we have a bunch of people that could not keep up with you for the last couple minutes.
Okay.
Me included, but we've got a few people that said way behind, can't keep up. So we clearly are not all the expert executive chefs that you are. Could you just kind of reiterate what you just said the last couple minutes?
Okay, so I took the shrimp, I sauteed the shrimp, then I took the vegetables into the pan with the shrimp, cooked that, just to get it hot because all the vegetables are already cooked. Then I took the pasta out of the water, put it into with my vegetables and my shrimp. And then I turned that off. Then I added my pasta water, about 4 ounces, 2 ladles of pasta water into the pasta, and let that come back up, bring it back up to a boil. When it comes back up to a boil, shut it off, add about 2 tablespoons of butter, and let that coat. And once you start mixing that up, it'll create like this little sauce. Turn it off again and add your pesto. I added all my pesto that I made. You can add 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, whatever how much pesto you want. The idea is that the pesto coats all the shrimp and all the pasta, and it makes this delicious sauce with it. Anybody have?
Yes, we do have Steve Troner. We have a bunch of questions.
What's up, guys?
Steve Troner, I'm going to unmute you. Did you have a question, Steve?
Yeah, we've gotten way beyond where I was. But I caught up, so I'm okay.
Okay.
You're okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a few
Listen,
people.
nobody can make it as wrong as Craig. Craig was horrible at this.
I heard he
You're the
sucked.
man, you're the man, thank you.
When you said to put the pasta in, didn't you say mix the butter in at some point?
Yeah, so put the pasta in.
Yeah.
And then add the pasta water.
Yeah.
And bring that to a boil, shut it off, and add the butter, and then toss it.
Okay.
All the butter?
No, about 2 tablespoons of butter.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
I'd say half of what you have.
Okay.
How much pasta? How much pasta do you add?
All of it.
All the pasta.
All the pasta.
We wanted you to have lunch tomorrow, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of pasta. Adam, I'm tasting
All
it.
the butter.
It's so delicious. Oh my God. It's delicious.
So then, I'm gonna take, you guys can eat it right out of the pan. You can eat it, I'm gonna eat it right in a little bowl. So I'm gonna put it just like this. See that?
It is so good.
And then I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top that I saved. And voila. There's your pasta. I'm gonna plate.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. It's delicious.
We have a couple other items in the bag. You have your dessert, which is a little chocolate. And then you have your kale salad that you can enjoy with this after it. You can eat your dessert first or last, however you want, depending on how much wine you had. We'll sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. And it should look like.
Yeah.
See that? Whoa, close up.
Oh my God, mine does not look like that.
It's so delicious. Wow.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, how far are you from me so I can come over and just eat what you just made?
Adam, this is delicious.
So one of the things that I was always taught with pasta, enough sauce to coat the pasta.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
And this is absolutely delicious.
We can have it too.
Together like a perfect marriage, not fight. Marry yourself together, and should be just enough pasta for the sauce. Whenever you guys make pasta at home, it should be very simple and easy ingredients.
So Craig is putting.
Jolene, did you make anything?
I did.
Okay.
We see Jolene has come out.
I didn't burn down my kitchen.
I want to see everybody's dish. Can everybody show me their dish? Or is that impossible?
We left off where Craig is putting the butter in.
Oh, nice.
Craig puts the butter in.
So good.
Can I ask?
So good.
The shrimp are so good. So why are these shrimp so good compared to the ones we buy?
So good.
Yeah, so the shrimp,
Delicious.
there's a couple different kinds of shrimp you can get. When they go to fish for shrimp in the ocean, they actually take the shrimp, they clean it, and they freeze it because they usually fish really down deep. So this shrimp that we got, and a lot of times when they freeze it, they add brine and salt to it that plumps it up, and then when you cook it, it shrinks. This kind of shrimp we got doesn't add any brine, it doesn't add any different chemicals to it. It's all natural, and it comes off the boat frozen, and it comes to us fresh. So it doesn't shrink, it doesn't change texture, it doesn't change color. A lot of the shrimp will shrink and get rubbery.
Yeah.
And so you have to buy a little bit better quality shrimp. Everybody says, wild raised shrimp. Wild raised shrimp isn't as good as somebody that is controlling some of the aquaculture. Also not sustainable.
Yeah.
This is a little bit better sustainable shrimp. That's farm raised shrimp, but it's raised in the wild, out in pens, and they don't brine it when they harvest it.
Yeah, it almost tastes like a scallop. It's delicious.
Did you say add 2 more ladles after the butter as well?
No, you don't have to. No. After the butter, after you put the pasta in, just add 2 ladles, bring it up to a boil, and then add the butter.
Basil that you used, is that a special, only one kind of basil, or is there more?
Yeah, it's really fresh. It actually, the basil came from Israel for some reason. We get our produce from a local produce purveyor that whenever we can get it local, we get it local. But if not, I told him I want the best possible. And this time he brought me in Israeli basil that was clean, completely fresh.
Beautiful. This is so delicious.
Yeah.
So good.
And then when you turn the pan off, then you put the pesto on, right?
That's correct.
You have to give it a little time or just put it right on?
Just put it right on.
Okay.
And then toss it.
Not out the window, Craig. Just toss it in the pan.
This is really awesome.
Don't toss it in the trash.
Isn't he doing a great job, Craig? Let's hear it for Craig.
Adam, you did awesome.
Thank you. I know I went a little fast.
Ed has a question.
This is my
Very good.
Thank you.
Ed has a question.
Hey, Ed.
Easiest.
Go ahead, Ed.
Is this going to be an every Wednesday event? That's all.
It's amazing.
It's just every Wednesday from now on. This is.
I was going to say, Jolene, even after COVID-19, can we keep some of this going? I like this.
Absolutely.
Taste the dessert. We figured after a hard day of cooking and making this dish, you'd need a break. So the tart is so yummy. I hope you all enjoy it.
Oh, cool.
Yes, you didn't call yet. Another quick question. Your lemon herb dressing.
Yes. What was that?
The lemon herb dressing for the salad.
Yep.
Is there a recipe for that, or?
I'd have to kill you if I give you the recipe. No. So the lemon herb dressing, it's really, really simple. It's fresh lemon juice. It's a little bit of, we use blended oil and a little bit of Dijon mustard to emulsify it, and parsley, salt, and pepper. That's it.
Amazing. Very good.
It sounds like we had some successes out
Yeah, delicious.
Oh, good.
Wine bottles and empty dishes, right?
Hey, Michelle. Michelle, we ordered one of the weeks from you guys, and we just want to tell you the churros were the most delicious thing we've ever eaten.
We loved it all, but the churros were the standout star. Our kids were crazy about them.
They were homemade. I'm glad you enjoyed them.
Brendan, what are you eating? Forget it.
Adam, all of the comments I just have to share with you in the chat room have been, I'm just going to read a few. Delicious. Thank you. Absolutely phenomenal. Super delicious. This is amazing. Oh my God, the pesto is banging. Hooked on 12th Street Catering. Still catching up. That was just Craig, but you know, Craig is not good. Oh my God, I would follow him anywhere. After the CBD pork and now this. Let's see, Dr. Brandy, would you like to elaborate on the CBD pork?
I did.
Now, what happens?
First of all, what happens at Valley Forge Flowers stays at Valley Forge Flowers. I did not inhale.
Hey, power couple, that recipe.
When we did that dish, we were cooking out of a little kitchen in the back of Valley Forge Flowers, and I had 2 smoking guns hooked up with CBD. I smoked out the entire back kitchen. I hotboxed the entire kitchen. I couldn't even see. It was so smoky. I figured it out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope everybody likes this.
We did.
A little bit of smoke everywhere.
We had 2 tops that night.
I want to share that it's been about 2.5 months now that we have not had an event one like this. I thank you for letting us share with you, play with you, and share what we love to do. That's really nice. I'm glad you're enjoying.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
So delicious. Thanks, Michelle.
Michelle, thanks for the idea. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can always lean on you for ideas.
Hey, I'm never short on ideas, that's for sure.
No, we know that. Are you
So Daryl,
since we're all kind of moving at different speeds. Can you share the step-by-step instructions? Oh.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Michelle and Adam, would you mind sharing this step-by-step instructions so we could do it another time?
Yes.
Of course.
I don't know if I'd remember how to, I'll remember the ingredients, but that would be awesome.
No problem.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
We have a question. Well, comment. The tart is beautiful. What are the copper balls made of?
The what?
The tart.
Oh, the tart.
Somebody's on to dessert already.
So the little copper balls on top are just little candies that are made out of cocoa nibs, and then they coat them in chocolate, and they put this pearl on top of them. All they are is just to add a little bit of a crunch to your dessert and a little bit of texture.
And Michelle, you guys provided a meal for 2. I can feed 5 with mine. Although I do have a lot of girls in the house.
It's like a bird.
Yeah.
But we hope you enjoy. Everybody can get to enjoy tomorrow for lunch.
Yeah, you're right.
We have another question. What makes the blended oil?
So the blended oil is 90% olive oil and 10% canola oil. The reason why I use blended oil, because olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, has a different smoking point or heating point that'll actually turn bitter after about 120 degrees. When you add a little bit of a different oil like canola oil to it, and you can buy it, not only does it make it a little bit cheaper, but it also changes the smoking point to about 212 degrees. So you can saute with it.
That's the most I've learned in the entire time of quarantine.
How's the chef back? I see his hat.
Hey, we have a cooking question.
He's like,
If you're making chicken cutlets, what's the best oil to make it with?
The best oil, to be honest with you, the best oil to use across the board is peanut oil. But a lot of people don't use peanut oil because of the allergies. Peanut oil has the highest smoking point, actually fries the best. So most people use oil, but peanut oil is the best frying oil around, hands down.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Can we heat up the tarts? It's another question that was asked.
No, because the chocolate balls and everything else will melt on the top of it. You're just supposed to just eat it just like this. I guess you could, but everything would melt into a gluey, weird mess.
An ooey gooey delicious mess.
Yeah.
I guess if you put ice cream on it and then just melt the heck out of it.
Adam, this was absolutely amazing.
Thank
I mean,
you.
again, the comments just keep coming. Such an amazing job. Let's do this every week. So the comments keep coming in. This was absolutely amazing. We are not kicking anyone out. We want to thank Adam and Michelle. Thank you guys so much for doing this for your BCA family. We are so lucky to have you as a part of our family. Again, I'm not kicking anyone out. Please enjoy your meals. I'm going to unmute everyone, but if it gets a little too loud, I might start muting a few people, but I want everyone to enjoy their meal together.
Great. Hey, I have a comment.
I got it out before.
Oh, what's your comment?
Well, if we're gonna do a cooking class every week, can we do the golf event every week also?
Your suggestion is duly noted.
I will see what I can.
We are working on that.
Tuno's gonna come up with this.
Haven't been able Steve Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of pasta left there.
Oh, just debating. Hi guys, this is fantastic.
Thank you, Kelly.
Steve Turner, how did you do?
Good try, but I couldn't drink anymore.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Oh, taste with that cheesecake that we have for my.
So that would be good. You can have this all tomorrow.
Steve Turner, you're muted. Can you hear me?
I have a little bit, but Kel's my favorite. I like the dressing. I'll have it on a.
I'm gonna eat it now.
How'd you do?
Salad.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to sign in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks a lot, Jillian. It's great.
Thank you guys so much. Everyone enjoy your meals, and we'll see you hopefully next Thursday, social distancing tailgate at Spike's Trophies, 4 to 6. Next Thursday, May 28th, 4 to 6 at Spike's Trophies. Social distancing tailgate. We'll send an email. We'll send invites to everyone, but hopefully see you next Thursday in person. Thank you guys. Love you.
Thanks, Jillian.
Bye, guys.